Stub your toe, cut your hand, throw your back out, and notice what you do. No yell, no complaint, nothing. Just a sharp breath, maybe a curse word under your breath, and then you keep going, like nothing happened. This isn't toughness for show. It's a rule you never wrote down, but never broke either. And it started long before you became a man. Nobody sat you down and explained this rule. You learned it by watching, the way you learn most things as a kid. Someone in your life carried pain for years without ever mentioning it. A bad knee, a bad back, never once brought up. Crying got you sent to your room, not comforted. So you learned fast what pain was actually for. It wasn't something you announced. It was something you carried, quietly, and dealt with on your own time. You watched and you copied, not because anyone told you to, but because that's simply what strength looked like. By the time you were old enough to feel real pain yourself, the pattern was already set in you. A scraped knee, a broken finger. You held it in, the same way you'd seen it held in before you. Nobody praised you for it out loud. But nobody had to. The silence itself felt like the reward. And so, quietly, without ever deciding to, you became someone who simply didn't complain. So, somewhere along the way, you built a system. Pain became something to manage, never something to share. A headache meant working through it, not mentioning it, not asking for anything, just pushing forward. An injury meant finishing the job first. Dealing with it came after, all were after, never in the moment. If something hurt bad enough to actually notice, that just meant it was time to go quieter, not louder. Complaining felt like asking for something, sympathy, help, attention. And asking was never something you learned to do comfortably. So you didn't ask. You adjusted. You found ways to work around the pain instead of speaking about it. A limp you hid by walking a little slower. A wince you covered with a joke instead. Over the years, it stopped feeling like a coping method. It just became how you operated, full stop. You got so good at hiding it, most people around you never even knew when something was actually wrong. And honestly, that was the point. Being unreadable felt safer than being seen struggling. But here's what nobody warned you about. The same silence that made you look strong also made you invisible. Doctors got visited years too late, because if you could still walk, still work, it didn't count as urgent. Injuries that should have healed properly just got worked through instead. And quietly, some of them never fully did. People around you assumed you were fine because you always looked fine. Even on the days you weren't, nobody checked in because nobody had a reason to think they needed to. The same wall that kept you standing also kept anyone from noticing when you weren't. You paid for that strength in small, private ways. Nights that hurt more than you let on. Mornings you moved a little slower and told no one why. It's not that you didn't feel it. You felt every bit of it. You just never said so. And over time, that silence became its own kind of weight. One you carried the exact same way. And yet, even now, knowing all of this, you still won't complain. Because somewhere in there, silence stopped being something you do and became something you are. Saying "this hurts" out loud feels less like honesty and more like defeat. Like admitting the thing you were built to withstand actually managed to get to you. So, you don't say it. You just keep moving, the same way you always have. Not because you don't feel it, but because feeling it and saying it were never the same skill to you. One you were taught early. The other, nobody ever bothered to teach you at all. So you learned to manage the first and simply live without the second. And most days, that trade still feels like a fair one, even when it isn't. Here's the truth, though. You were never numb to any of it. You felt every stitch, every ache, every rough night exactly like anyone else would. You just never learned that saying so out loud wasn't weakness. Nobody ever showed you that version of strength, the kind that speaks instead of just endures. Maybe that's the real lesson in all of this. Not that you need to complain more. Just that silence was never actually proof of anything. It was just the only language you were ever taught for pain. And somebody, once in a while, should still ask if you're okay, because you are never going to be the one to say it first. If any of this sounded familiar, you already know exactly what this channel is about. Being Gen X wasn't a personality trait. It was a training ground. And this is just one more thing it built in you. Drop a comment if this one hit close. And let someone know it's okay to say when something hurts. And if you want more of this, subscribe. There's more where this came from.